Hi there. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Amy Brookes, and I am an evidential psychic medium, an intuitive mentor, a podcast host, and a published author. And if you're here, you're probably somebody that is more curious about, mediumship or psychic abilities in general. Maybe you are just curious about me. You've heard of me. My work does run on word of mouth. So maybe that's how you're finding me. Or maybe you are inquiring, looking for more information about booking a service with me. And so I really wanted to just say hello, put my face out there, my energy out there into the internet so that you can kind of experience me and who I am and what I'm all about before making the plunge. This kind of work and, looking for somebody to provide this kind of service for you is a huge deal. And I know that. This work humbles me. I know it's a big deal. I know it can be potentially life-changing. And so it's really important that you find a reader that works well with you, that you mesh with, and you just feel kind of a good vibe or you feel connected to them. And so it's really important that you kind of do your investigative work. So if that's what you're here for, well done. I applaud you because you need to do this kind of work before you book a service with somebody. So I have been doing this work now for about 3.5 years professionally. I offer one-on-one readings as well as group readings virtually. And I have clients from all over the globe, and it is amazing how energy works and how, you don't have to be in the same space, right? This work is all about energy and connection, and that can happen anywhere. That can happen me here in Canada and you over there in Australia or wherever you are. So, it's just how it works, and it's pretty amazing. I am somebody that is quite active in terms of the content that I put out there. So I do have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, as well as a YouTube page. Maybe you're finding me on YouTube. Everything is under the name The Intuitive Rising. The reason for that name is because I really have this vision of bringing together a like-minded community and holding space for like-minded individuals that are all interested in learning more about spirituality in general, intuitive development, and maybe mediumship, psychic abilities, if that was their thing as well. But essentially, it's a place to gather, connect for community, and to learn from each other. And that's my future vision that I am holding space for. But right now, I'm a one-woman show. I do everything on my own with the help of my lovely husband, who does a lot of my video editing, podcast editing. So shout out to him. But yeah, I offer one-on-one and group readings. My readings, I've got mediumship, right? So that's me connecting to a loved one in spirit, a pet, an ancestor, a family member, a friend, anybody that's in spirit for you that you really want to hear from. They'll come through, right? Like 9 times out of 10, exactly who it is that you're looking for will come through. It's important that you feel comfortable with the experience, which is why, I felt compelled to kind of put this introduction out there and to build that relationship and that connection before the reading happens, because the more open you, the client, are in the situation and with the medium, the more fluid, and evidential the information will come through. So the better the connection, right? The better the trust, the better the reading. Truly, truly believe that. The most impactful, right? So that's mediumship. There's intuitive guidance, which is more about reading your personal energy and bringing through past, current, and future-based information. We've got past life readings, higher self readings. I have so many, and they are all amazing and in their own right. So I encourage you to take a peek on my website. I have a tab that's all about my offerings. You can read descriptions and details about them. Also on my website, you'll be able to find some about me information if you're looking for more about my background. I'm going to share a brief snippet with you in a moment, kind of about how I got into this, but you'll find more information about that on my website as well, and on my social media. My real mission statement in doing this work, and really like the focus and the aim of my professional career at this point, is to really break down myths around spirituality, around mediumship, around psychic abilities, to make them more accessible, to make them more inclusive. And I'm a big, big advocate of ethical mediumship. There's a lot of stuff happening out there that's not always ethical. So I feel a personal responsibility to showcase what real mediumship can look like, not all the smoke and mirrors stuff. And I provide a lot of examples of my work in my social media, such as going live and doing mediumship demonstrations where, you know, the audience in the group can see me work and interact, and how that comes across. So that's really, really important to me. I also have a podcast that is updated weekly that I co-host with a dear friend of mine. And that's kind of also our mission statement with the podcast, is to bring the woo out of spirituality and bring it back down to earth. So we, you know, we're just two everyday girls, women who just happen to be mediums, but also are completely like everybody else in every other way. So I invite you, if you're a podcast listener, to check out Soul Rising. That's the name of our podcast. And there's also a blog section on my website, which is new at this point in April of 2022. And I'm going to be updating that weekly. You can look forward to topics like about mediumship, intuitive development, and like what it means to be an empath or a highly sensitive person, different kind of topics around boundaries, like anything intuitive development or spirituality you'll find on that blog. So all of those things can be found on my website, which is theintuitiverising.com. And then, like I said, I'm on Facebook and on Instagram as The Intuitive Rising as well. So I'm going to quickly give a little bit of a background for you, and then I will leave you for now. So I have, as I said, I have been a medium, a working medium for about 3.5 years, but that really came about for me, you know, in realizing that I was a medium, for those pieces to kind of click and the awareness to come. Often mediums will have some sort of experience, right? It doesn't always have to be a big experience. It can just be little things over time. But often there's some sort of experience that triggers that awareness. For me, it was grief. And so this came about for me 4.5 years ago now with my dad. So my dad passed away very suddenly, unexpectedly. He wasn't ill or anything like that. And so we obviously weren't expecting it. And I don't live close by to my parents. And so I wasn't able to get there in time to say goodbye. And at this point, he was on life support. So I had to say my goodbyes over the phone. And in that interaction, in that moment, he came through to me in spirit and gave me so much evidence that it was him, you know, like a bird's eye view of the room, the nurse's name, the room number, who was in the room, what they were wearing. All of that kind of stuff came through. And yes, it did kind of freak me out a little bit, but at the same time, it was very comforting. Like, it didn't feel scary to me. It was just kind of like overwhelming. And so, you know, I really sat with that. Over the next year, he still was with me often and you know, leaving me spirit signs and trying to communicate as often as he could with me. And I want to share a quick little thing. It never fails to crack me up, because my dad has been the one in spirit who has, you know, been guiding me down this path towards mediumship since his passing. And in life, he was a huge skeptic and would have found this hilarious. And so I find it quite ironic, but also absolutely perfect that it is him to guide me in this way. So yeah, that's my story. That's how I came about it. And about a year of practice and just kind of getting my bearings and making sure that I really wanted to do this. And, you know, I could do it. Was really worried. You know, we all are worried when we do something new. And I just want to share a little tidbit about, you know, the confidence bit. Something I've learned is that confidence comes after you do the thing. And if you're waiting to feel confident about something before you do it, probably going to be waiting forever, because confidence does not come before, it comes after. And so I just had to do it. I just had to follow the breadcrumbs, follow the nudge and the urge inside me that was telling me this was for me, and do it. And I'm so glad I did. Often those big things, like those moments in which we're the most nervous to do something or to take that leap, are very often the most rewarding in hindsight. So I have a background in my work experience is in human resources and in community health. I've been a homemaker for many, many years before I started to do this work. I have 3 children, and my education, I have a degree in psychology, and at some point I do feel like I will continue that and do more in that field as we move forward, and maybe even blend this field and that field together. I think that would be pretty amazing and very like forward thinking and future based. So we'll see what happens, but I'm so glad you're here along for the ride. Please make sure to like and follow the accounts that I listed. I'd love to keep in touch with you. Have a good day.